Welcome and welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Kyra Siva. I am a spiritual mentor and healer, and today we are going to ask your spirit guides on how to unlock your inspiration. This is being filmed at the beginning of the new year in 2025, and I know it's a time where a lot of people are jazzed up about their New Year's resolutions and just the whole beginning energy of a new year and transformation. So we're going to dive into how to really get that inspiration. And if you are a creative soul and you are looking at how to unlock your creative inspiration, this is also for you, because it's just a time to really dive deep and find those inner pieces of yourself that allow you to feel creative and expressive and to really find the fulfillment that comes from living an inspired life. All right, so this is pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. Again, pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. And we'll go ahead and dive into pile number 1. Okay, we're going to dive into how to unlock your inspiration. So the very first thing that your spirit guides were really highlighting to me is this red lion with wings. And they were really showing me the lion face, and it reminded me of a griffin. So part of their first message to you is to tap into fantasy stories, like fantasy adventure, magical stories about just people, it reminds me of the Harry Potter, right? So stories like that, things that are engaging for you, that have these incredible arcs of the main character going through their amazing transformational process. They're showing me that you have actually a lot that can be learned through reading these kinds of stories. The red is so highlighted. Now they're showing me this crown. So that sort of message is they want you to tap into that fantasy style of life to find your inspiration. Find those characters that just, they get you, like you're like, how am I going to deal with this? Like, okay, like I'm going to deal with this like the way that my favorite main character would navigate these situations. You can find so much healing and strength through those sort of stories. So that is the first area. They really want, especially like to focus on things that allow you to tap into that character who feels like a queen or a king or the leader of an empire, the underdog that becomes, the crowned prince, the underdog that overcomes the large whatever they're fighting organization. It's really just this tapping into and marrying of the space that going into those sort of fantasy story novels takes you into, and bringing that level of energy back into your life. I feel like I want to just keep going on and on and on about that, because it's so cool, because those places where you can tap into your imagination, where you can really just get lost in the reading and lost in the audiobook or the video game or the movie that you're watching. And they're like, with the highlighting of that, it's about that expansive ability, the courage, the learning, the healing, just that the story arc of going from, where you're at today into something so much bigger and larger than anything that you thought was possible. They want you to hold that energy. You have a lot of lion energy in your reading. And so there's this call to really embody that, right? Be a lion, be magnificent, be unapologetic you. And as you are looking for that inspiration and you step into that space, you're going to have the courage necessary to tackle whatever it is that you are looking to tackle. Because you're not just going to show up as the old version of yourself. You're going to show up as the lion, right? Like the king of the jungle, the queen of the jungle. So down here we have this really fun story for you. You're on this process of having a lot of growth, and you are walking along, not even walking really, you're transforming along into this new version of you. I'm having a hard time talking, so maybe it's a hard time getting out a lot of these inspirational messages, because here we have this sort of indecisiveness, right? And that's exactly how I was feeling just a moment ago. Like, what is the right word to use for the energy of the feeling that I am feeling? So while you may be undertaking this personal growth, this creative expression and experience, and you're happy to do that, at the same time, there are so many of these junctions that you are faced with that you're just like, do I take the left path? Do I take the right path? Do I go up the hill? Do I go into the village? Like, you're getting stuck in analysis paralysis. And so when you find yourself stuck in those spaces, they're telling me, like, it doesn't matter which path you go down, just keep walking. Like, if you don't feel like writing or drawing that day, just do a doodle. Just type down some funny words. Do some little automated writing. Like, do something that's playful and light, but that keeps the energy flowing, because for you, your inspiration is coming through a lot in your feelings. And I think that's why they are tying this a lot to being in like the fantasy novel space, the whether it's sci-fi fantasy or if you're like me, like fantasy romance stuff. The whole point is that you are tapping into your emotions because your creativity is flowing through your emotions. Your inspiration is coming through you living an unblocked emotional life. And so when you hit indecision, that creates an unintended block to your emotions flowing, right? You're like, the train is moving forward and then there's a split in the road, and instead of just choosing a path, you're like overthinking, well, is this brush stroke the right stroke, or is this the right path, or do I do this, or you've learned too much practical information, so now instead of the train just going down and continuing on a path, it has to stop. The whole train has to stop and then decide which path to go down. So they're really encouraging you. Don't worry about doing it wrong. Don't worry about being perfect. Don't worry about making the wrong choice. You will always naturally be aligned and realigned with your inspiration and with your goals and with your purpose. So it's more important for who you are when you take the actions than the actual action itself. Of course, there's going to be certain implications in the material world, but they're saying it this way. The truth is, when you show up like a lion and you move through your life, you're going to make decisions like the lion. You're going to make decisions like the lead character of your favorite fantasy genre, right? Like, when you are in those spaces making those decisions, all of a sudden, you don't have to second guess who you are in that moment. You can just walk forward with strength and confidence. You also have this really beautiful ability right now for being really receptive to ideas. And again, they're like pushing back into this, so what they're pushing you back into the space of imagination. So just remember, the way for you to unlock your inspiration is going to go to these places where they emotionally take you, to the places of your favorite main characters, the energy of what those characters embody and the circumstances of those characters embody. They're going to have you go back into your imaginative world and really own the strength and confidence of that. And then as you hit indecisiveness, you've gone back to that place enough times that you can embody the lion energy, embody just the strength and the confidence that comes along with that, because you have you have all of these really full ideas. Like what they're showing me is these really full moons, which I always interpret as that your emotions are very full, that your ideas are very well thought out and completed, that there's a fulfillment, right? It's not the new moon, it's not where things are just beginning, it's the full moon where things have come to fruition. So they want you in those energies. They want you to go back into that imaginative space, because that's where you're really receptive to these really big, beautiful ideas. Even look at this card, like there's so much swirling, right? That's like your mind. That's like the creative energies are just flowing and swirling through you. So when you take the pressure off of being perfect, when you take the pressure off of, well, what if I show up in the world and people don't like this and they don't like that? Like, you're not enjoying the process when the focus is external. You'll enjoy the process when you are rocking out in your internal world, having a good time. So this is a really cool to see, just even these shapes, like they're just showing me all of these really organic, flowing splashes, and how like wind will twirl, or you have water that is snaking down a creek or a river, but then it like goes over rocks and bubbles quietly, so it's these really organic patterns, really, is what they're showing me. Now this card is your spirit guide, and I asked specifically just who is your spirit guide, and come join us in the reading and show up. So yours is the cosmic egg, the divine feminine. I hold the energy, I hold the universe within me. I am the force of an ever expanding love. So your spirit guide didn't want to present itself as an image of a person, but it is a very feminine sort of spirit guide. And for me, this card feels very associated with just your soul. Not so much as another being helping you, but your literal higher self, your literal oversoul that's got all of the incarnations. Like your soul is paying very close attention to your life right now. And that's showing up in your dreams, that's showing up in your inspiration, that's showing up in the sort of stories that you are drawn to. This connection to the sun, to the light, to the, like, sunlight is so purifying and so strong, and the deeper essence of who you are, as that is coming out, it has a natural strength to it. It has a natural clarity to it. It has a natural confidence to it. So they really were showing me that, in the sense that your spirit guide is actually your higher self coming through this reading, or your oversoul, or the largest metaphorical part of you. Well, it's really the whole of you, and you're like a little offshoot of it. But the aspect of you that you are merging back into. Hopefully that made sense. Like if you were to imagine that your main soul, your big soul, was a sun, and all of these little spirals of light that were coming out were these spirals, and all of those were your incarnations through space and time and everything. That big sun is looking at your life. And like, it's always a part of you, right? But sometimes those big parts of our soul, like our little human problems, feel so little to it, right? It's enormous. You've got a little incarnation, 100 years compared to being in infinite time and space. So it is actually a very special time to get this level of attention. And also just know that, like, this is the nature of who you are. Like when you uncover all of the masks and all of the stuff that we associate with being human, when you bring that all back down to your core essential nature, that's what's vibing you. That's the animating force of life in a lot of ways. So this is a very, very cool reading. This is how you get your inspiration, pile number 1, how to unlock your inspiration. So just to wrap it up, in case all of that felt like a lot, just make sure that you are going back to your imaginary places, through your stories, connecting with your soul energy. When you feel indecisive, go ahead and just walk. It's straightforward. Keep the train moving and don't worry about what decision you're making. Worry about who you are when you make that decision, and know that your inspiration is coming a lot through your emotions and your imagination. Okay, pile number 1. If you like this reading, please give it a like and subscribe. And I will be releasing my Patreon very soon, so you can check that out in the description below. And I also offer personal readings in case you want to dive deeper into who you are and your journey. And until next time, pile number 1, I hope you have a beautiful
pile number 2.
How to unlock your inspiration. All right, so pile number 2, we're going to start over here with the Hierophant in reverse and the Justice card. This is a time for you to break away, to find your inspiration, to break away from what you've known before. Whether this is breaking out of religious dogma, or if you are a very creative person, this is the time to draw outside of the lines, color outside of the lines. Try art techniques, try lifestyle techniques, try things from just a different point of view. And if it has been something where you're like, well, I was taught it had to be XYZ, it always has to be XYZ, like things have to look like the way I was taught how they have to look. Your spirit guides are really sharing that your ability to break away from the norm, from what you have been programmed to believe is the right way, is a really, really important thing for you in terms of really connecting with that inspiration. Now, your cards also have this story of feeling like the feeling that your spirit guides are giving me is that you need to feel safe materially. You need to feel like you're in search of feeling security, safety, and stability in your life. And now is not the time to maybe take on a new project or a new job. It's just really about, or maybe you are looking for those things, right? Like, how do you, this sounds very dramatic, but like, how do you have the inspiration to live? How do you have the inspiration? And of course, if you're having significant mental health struggles, please go see a therapist. Like, don't even put any blocks in the way to do that. Go take care of yourself. You go see doctors if your leg's broken. Go see a therapist if you're struggling. But if you're just hitting about of feeling the lackluster of life, your spirit guides are just telling you that now is a time for you to just go out and literally allow yourself to do things that you never thought could be done. And I'm going to use a really pragmatic example. A lot of people have their own ways of folding a towel. And everybody has very good reasons why they fold their towels in a very specific way. So if you've only ever folded your towel in 1 or 2 or maybe 3 specific ways, go look for new ways to fold the towel and learn that, yes, while this can be true, that these are very good reasons that you fold a towel this way, it can also be true that there's like 90 other ways that you could fold a towel, and all of them are valid and useful and honestly like functional. I'm sure there's some that aren't, but that's a pragmatic way of looking at this situation. So you can take that concept that I just shared and apply that to the specific area that you're trying to find inspiration from, right? It's about you trusting your own heart, trusting your own emotions, your own intuition, and your own ability to move forward in life. Even though this pile is about how to unlock your inspiration. The feeling that they are giving me is, it's almost like you're turning over a new leaf in life and you are looking for new ways to show up in the world, and like having a new work, new career, having more freedom. Maybe you're looking for a job right now. It's like this, it's like you're leaving like the toxic situations in your life, right? Like you're leaving your toxic work situation, you're leaving your toxic family, you're leaving your toxic ex, right? Like you are embarking on this new version of you, and sometimes in that process you're just looking for inspiration, like, okay, well, spirit guides, what is the next thing? You know, I walked out the door, turned my life upside down. I need to have certain material things to feel safe and abundant. And also, like, how do I even go about doing that? This is really interesting. So this is your spirit guide, and I just asked for your spirit guide to come down with this deck, this oracle card deck that I have, and you have Our Lady of Guadalupe, the Empress of Protection. I am safe and divinely protected. I am held in love at all times. Your spirit guide, not only are they very sparkly, which I love, they have a very feminine energy, and their energy is coming out in tendrils. And this is actually really cool and really significant in that your spirit guide has a hand in a lot of things. So as you are going for your nature walk in the morning, you are going about your life. I keep envisioning one of my friends who was a stay-at-home wife who left her husband, that she wasn't fulfilled in the relationship. She's middle-aged, and she's never really she hasn't had a lot of her own money. Like the work environment she's been in have been toxic, and she's like had to really extract herself out of both of those circumstances. And they just keep showing me her over and over and over again, because this energy is so aligned with her personality, or like the stuff she has been through. So that might be really relevant for you. Like you're like that, right? Like you have extracted yourself out. You haven't found your empowerment in every single way, but you are spicy and like you know how to advocate for yourself. And in this process of leaving, like you have gained a higher capacity to speak up for yourself, to take space in the world for yourself. You have walked out of situations and just been like, you know what? I'm done. This is final. Like I'm out. I am so out of doing this stuff. So I bring that up because every image that I get when I am putting together your spirit guide is my friend, is this friend of mine. And I see her walking out, like we have a lot of open spaces in Colorado. Like I see her walking out and, praying, like doing her meditation, doing her conversations with the universe, and like asking her spirit guides, like, what about this thing? What about that thing? That's how I feel about you. Like you are that person going out, walking around your open spaces, walking around a pond, and you're like talking to your spirit guides because you have excellent communication with that. And so your spirit guides coming through and saying, I've heard all of them. And all of these tendrils going out is my energy going out to support you with all of these wishes that you have. Like your spirit guide has been helping you find this freedom, find this abundance, find this really deeper unconditional love and this acceptance of yourself. So your inspiration can really come from knowing that as you speak to your spirit guides, as you speak to the universe, as you even, maybe you're a big Our Lady of Guadalupe, you're speaking to Mother Mary, you're very, like if you really like that traditional path of Christianity, they are saying that as you speak your desires, whether internally or externally, you are being heard, and you have a very enlightened being working on your behalf to bring these things to fruition. I also see here a connection to the stars. So go out stargazing. I would encourage this to everybody. Go out stargazing, because we collectively are missing the intense and deep awe of realizing that our entire sky is blanketed in stars, and seeing the galactic core of the Milky Way. If you don't know, I love stars. You can see it through like every single ounce of my marketing, because that level of connection to literal space and eternity itself is pretty freaking amazing. So they're really showing me, go out there. They're also having a nod to constellations, which for me would also indicate looking at your astrology, your nakshastras, sorry, my pronunciation, and really diving deeper into yourself, because you knowing you is where you get the inspiration from. You standing up and speaking for yourself is where you get the inspiration from. You walking away from the beliefs, from the systems, from the organizations, from the people, from the even like relationships, right? We are so heavily programmed as to how relationships ought to be and what it means. Like, go deprogram that, right? Because as you do that, that's where that deeper inspiration for your life, the new vision for your life comes out. And yeah, it's like, it's such a wild message to get. It's the inspiration to live. And I hope if you are struggling with that particular thing, that you immediately like get off of this video and go get help. But it feels like you're in a more stable position than that, and that you are just going through the tumbleweeds and throes of what happens when you leave the old. And there is a grief process that comes with that. There is a letting go process that comes with that. So that's where the reading feels mostly like it's at. It's just wild to get the message, like, your inspiration to live. You just are looking for like bigger inspiration, right? So just remember, as you speak, your thoughts, prayers, intentions, manifestations are absolutely being heard. And you have a really galactic, really highly spiritual, like, your spirit guide is a beautiful and a badass. So they are helping you really experience tapping into these emotional and energetic experiences of abundance and unconditional love. And every time that you feel freedom and excitement, they are absolutely there helping you. Like, they are prompting that, those, whether they're micro experiences or they are larger, like, oh, like today I don't have anybody to answer to today. Like, today I have freedom. That's what they're really helping you ground into your energy. Okay, pile number 2. If you like this message, please click the like button and subscribe. And I offer private readings. The link is in the description. And I am starting to make content for my Patreon page. So I will be doing an official launch. I'm just doing like a really soft, gonna start getting content up there. So the link is in the description for that as well, if you want to get some exclusive readings and exclusive content. Until next time, pile number 2. I hope you have a beautiful number 3. All right, how to unlock your inspiration. I will just say this pile is all about spiritual inspiration. So if you are not looking for specifically spiritual inspiration, then this is not your pile. I would encourage you to go check out one of the other ones, or check out a different reading. I'd love to have you stay on the channel. All right, pile number 3, let's dive in. So you are looking for spiritual inspiration, and good news, your spirit guides have come through with plenty of messages to help you find that. So I love this. Okay, let's go. I don't know where I want to dive in first. I love talking about this stuff, y'all. So this is so fun. Okay, let's start over here. We have, what I basically asked for this card was to have your spirit guide join us in the reading. So this is the manifestation of your spirit guide in this reading, and you have the Teresa of Avila, Our Lady of the Interior Life. I trust the answers I find within. I know that the presence of love is real. So there's two things that they are showing me. They're sending me so many messages at the same time. There's a couple of things. One are these beautiful stained glass windows. Like your spirit guide, you can commune very fluidly. You can connect and communicate a lot more easily when you are in sacred places. So if you have a church that has really beautiful architecture, that has beautiful stained glass windows, you're encouraged to go there. Or if you can be around stained glass windows, or even there's like a film that you can put on the exterior of your stained glass window. So they are really, really encouraging you to look at these stained glass windows and to be able to commune with them there. They also really highlighted these abilities to fly. So your spirit guide is coming to you with answers, and with like if you've asked for something and then you are about to receive that something, you will see a pigeon, a seagull. Okay, for all my oceanically, my coastal people, you'll see birds. You're going to see birds. So if you are like, I need confirmation, and then your bird flies in front of your face, that's them chatting you up. Okay. Part of your spiritual inspiration is finding these deeper psychic aspects or spiritual experiences. I think anybody that gets into spirituality and gets past the deconstruction phase of their own belief system, as you get into learning about energetics and communing with spirit and all of these different abilities and skills, that is such a hooking point for so many people, including myself. And so as you do this process, you are looking for ways to find inspiration on what is your next deeper psychic skill. How are you really being able to delve into these really cool places like lucid dreaming, developing your psychic skill, mediumship, a much deeper grasp and understanding of astrology and tarot or oracle card reading, divination, your personal spiritual practices. So we've already been through so many. One of their guidance pieces is to really go inside of yourself. See how excited I was, and I just could not. I'm even having a hard time putting the words in my mouth because I have so much I want to say and share. So your spirit guides are actually trying to download quite a bit to you, but you have to create the space to listen. You have to create the space to say, you know what, I'm going to turn off my phone. I'm going to give myself 5 minutes, 15 minutes, a half an hour, an hour. I'm going to dedicate time to sit down. And if it's not a practice of connection, then it's a practice of listening. Out of all of the skills that we have as human beings, we don't get classes in listening, and a lot of spiritual work is listening, is learning to listen to your inner world. Part of the point of meditation is to be able to control your mind enough where you can listen to the actual messages, the actual downloads coming through. Now, downloads still come through. They still, they're still pouring in whether or not you are making the time and space. But in terms of going for that deeper inspiration, you need to do a deeper dive. And part of that is because this is one of my favorite cards in this whole deck. I love Panther Spirits. But you see how this Panther spirit is a witness, and it is emerging from the darkness. And so you can kind of see its outline. You can see its presence watching you, right? But it's also sort of hidden. That is very symbolic of how your consciousness is. As a spiritual student, you're really studying consciousness. You are studying psychic abilities and energy and all that stuff, and how creation works. But a lot of what this study is consciousness. And the study of consciousness transcends time, traditions, science, atheism. Like, it transcends all of that, because we're all very actually curious about consciousness. So as you sit back, I call this the non-judgmental observer. You sit back into this space. So as you quiet your mind and you start watching your thoughts, and you're like, oh, that thought's like a cloud and whatever, and as that detachment starts to, the widening of that detachment happens, you start experiencing these levels of awareness where you're like, well, who's watching the thought? And then you start to experience, even in your day-to-day life, as you are the character, I'm Kyra, the character walking around in my life. You start to experience the non-judgmental observer who is sitting. I always imagine this sitting behind. Every time I talk about this to people, you will see my hand like move back to the geographical space, because it's like you have this panther behind you. And it's just watching. It's just sitting in the darkness, and it comes in and out of the darkness. And there's nothing scary about it ever. Just in case you guys are scared of your own consciousness, there's nothing scary about it ever. I have never, not even a glimmer of being afraid of my own consciousness. So just know that, yeah, you've got this thing that sits in the shadow and also watches you, but that is you. But like, what part of you is it? Oof, there's some inspiration for you right there. All right, so you also have this spiritual quest, right? Like, you are heading towards things that you want to love more. You are wanting to have these new insights and new beginnings. And again, they're showing me another bird. But a lot of where your inspiration is going to come at is really learning how to balance, right? It's like they're showing me all these really funny details. Like, this fish is just talking to this dude out of the cup. Wow. Okay, so one of those messages is to have fun and take pleasure in the small things. Like this is so funny. I can't believe this fish looks like he's talking to this man in this. That is hilarious. I don't use this tarot deck much, but I will forever only see this fish coming out of the cup to talk to the man. It's like seeing the obtuse in life. It is like seeing the small comical things in life and just having a go at a good, hearty laughter. We can get so serious in our spiritual quest. We can get so like caught up, like, oh, I want to do this and I want to reach that and I want to reach. It's like, actually, just laugh and relax and enjoy the small comical things that Spirit's about to keep putting on your path in front of you, because those moments of deep relaxation are times where you will connect with the deeper love of who you are and the deeper love of the universe showering on that. And it's also going to really open up. It's like a ladder. Like the more you step out of the narrative that like you have to get this thing, or you detach from things and you start to just enjoy this funny little stuff, you're going to find that your inspiration, I want to say hits a lot harder. It comes on a lot stronger. It's a lot more present. Your spirit guides are basically like, you don't have to try. You just need to enjoy. You don't have to try. You just need to enjoy. Enjoy the comedy. Enjoy the small things. Enjoy the obtuse things about the world. Enjoy the funny little moments. Enjoy the little pieces of love. I don't know if you've ever done that practice. I don't know if people ever talk about this, but I spent like 6 months like doing a practice of being like, I'm going to look for the love in interactions. And it was so sweet. Like when I got past seeing, humans behaving, I'd be like, wow, that was a beautiful moment of love. Wow, that was another beautiful moment of love. Wow, this person is trying to love so hard. They have no idea how to do it, but they're trying so hard. Yeah, it's that. It's like the universe wants you to look at the world through the eyes of unconditional love, to look for the moments of love, to look for the funny little things, to look for how is this moment being enjoyed right now? Like maybe the squirrels are out enjoying the moment. Maybe the birds are out enjoying the moment. Maybe there's a happy family, or like if you've ever seen a really happy dog. I got a dog smile the other day on my walk. Friggin' lit up my whole afternoon. I didn't know that. I was just walking by the dog and the dog smiled at me and I was like, this is the best ever. I love dog smiles. They're so sweet. So it's really just about like savoring in those small moments and creating that space to listen. Wow, what a cool message. This feels so fun and deep and like an easy and hard practice all at the same time. And if you've been in spirituality for a while, you get what I mean when things are like, yeah, this is like really easy, like enjoy the moment. And also it's really hard. So stay out of your mind. Listen, listen, listen. Listen with your ears, listen with your heart. Put your attention and focus on finding the comical, funny things like a fish talking to a dude out of a cup. That's hilarious. And just like appreciate it. So just remember, you don't have to try to get these new inspiration, new skills, new anything. You just need to enjoy. That's it. All right, pile number 3. If you like this reading, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. I do offer personal readings. The link is in the description, and I am starting to get content for my Patreon channel, filmed and edited and recorded and all that good stuff. So my Patreon is open, but I need to go ahead and add content on there. So I'm just doing a really soft introductory launch to that. So you can look at that in the upcoming days and weeks just to help be a spiritual guide for you, really, on this really fun and funny adventure that we call spiritual awakening. Okay, pile number 3. Until next time, I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day.